Welcome to the TED Ed Podcast, where we delve into the issues that shape our daily lives and drive our productivity. We confront topics that matter deeply to all of us, from healthcare and affirmative action to voting rights and monetary success and failure. We cover it all. And yes, we dive into the complex world of politics, exploring how our country has evolved from slavery to the 21st century. Our content is crafted with care and expertise, drawing from years of experience in these critical areas. We invite you to give the TED Ed podcast a listen. You won't be disappointed. Share your thoughts with friends and confidants, and don't forget to like, comment, and share our episodes. Your engagement helps us grow and reach more listeners. Are you passionate about these topics? Do you have unique insights to share? You could be one of our guest speakers. Drop us a line, send an email, or leave a comment. All requests will be considered. Join us on this journey of exploration and understanding. This is the TED Ed Podcast. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hey, people, we are we are starting. I guess I don't know. We'll see here. A little stuff going on here, but I'm ready. Are you? You ready, man? Let's go. We got it.
I'm ready.
We got this. We got this. We heading on, man. I got to say this, man. I really got to say this, and I have to speak about the ex-first lady who did her speech there in Kalamazoo, Michigan last night. Oh,
You said Kalamazoo?
Kalamazoo, yes.
Yeah, Kalamazoo.
That's what she called it, Kalamazoo. I think that girlfriend closed this thing out, man.
Woo!
She closed this thing out.
I heard it last night. I heard it this morning.
I did too, man.
I just finished twice.
I just finished watching it for my third time, and I was watching MSNBC with Mr. Michael Steele and girlfriend on there doing the weekend show, and they had her one of her campaign managers and stuff on, this brother, I forget his name, and they talked about some other things they said. But when they got to that point where she was talking about mental health, you can tell, when women's health, you can tell it affected him real bad too, and stuff and everything. It hit the spot. I had to say something about it.
But
you guys,
Ed, I was telling my wife, I said we was talking about that same thing almost, not in detail like she did it, but you had spoken to your wife about it. I spoken to my wife, and the same thing we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And she went into detail.
But she took it all the way. I don't know if you could have took it any further than that. It was, whew. I was just glued, man. I'm
gonna listen to it one more time.
Yeah, after we had our show last night and everything, I got off and I was doing some stuff and getting our video ready to be uploaded to YouTube. I just happened to say, let me go on here and see what the heck that thing is, because you had mentioned it during the show and I hadn't saw it. So I saw it last night. I texted my wife and asked her how she saw it, and she didn't text me back, but I tried to text as many folks as I could. You guys need to see this and hear this woman talk. I mean, I'm very proud of her.
Facts. Man, that was deep, man. That was really deep.
It was. Some of those things, Ted, just like she said, this is a woman's body. It's my body I'm talking about, and you men don't understand. She was right. A lot of that stuff, man, I had heard it, in little bitty pieces and stuff from women, but she just put it all together.
Well, I'm gonna switch gears and we can come back.
Go ahead.
To the politics, but we've done this about we laid off for about a year or 2 years, but we put a good 5, 6 years into this, and once or twice a year we go through something that I really like to keep up with, and what it is the different sectors where America gets its revenue. And the important part about knowing the different sectors is that this is where the money is, bro. Where are people spending their money? How you can make your money? These different sectors. Now I'm gonna name them. Here's one: is real estate. Revenue $2.2 trillion. That's 13% of the GDP of real estate. Professional business services is $2 trillion. The commercial banking, $1.3 trillion. Hospitals, $1.3 trillion. Drugs, cosmetic, and toiletry wholesaling is $1.3 trillion. Health and medical insurance is $1.3 trillion. Pharmaceutical wholesaling is $1.2 trillion. Now, also, you got commercial banking, 1.3. You got pharmaceuticals and wholesaling is 1.2 trillion. So all of these sectors is where the money is going into. But the one thing that you have to realize is that even the state and local government is over $1 trillion, is $1 trillion, over $1 trillion.
Did you leave out something?
Oh, I haven't finished.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, now we got aerospace products and parts, 843 billion. Automobiles, 734 billion. Refined petroleum, 584 billion. Computers and electronics, 563. Food and beverage, 546 billion. Chemicals, 533 billion. Machinery, 463 billion. Metals, primary metals, man, 443 billion. And furniture and related products, 433 billion. And when you look at these different sectors and look how, appraisal and leather goods is 234 billion. So the thing is that if you are looking to start a company, a major company, you would look at these sectors and find out where the money is being spent. And then you got to figure out what is being exported. Because these people export a lot of their products around the world. And, when you look at that, that's exactly what these companies look at. And then they diversify. And they might have 4 or 5 different sectors under their umbrella to try to get that market share. If they can get 5 or 10% of that market share, that's billions of dollars in their pocket. And that's how these companies are working, and that's how they become how you pronounce that? Conglomerate. I can't even pronounce the word. I always
Consolidate.
Well, I can't pronounce the word, but anyway, the point is that they become huge
conglomerates. Oh, conglomerates. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Conglomerates.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so now these people do that, and if you ever look at some of these companies, one of the biggest ones is GE. Huge. And then you got these companies like Nestle, and they have all kinds of companies and trademark companies and name brand companies that they bought under their umbrella, hundreds of products. So the thing is that a lot of people try to figure out, well, what's going on, because a lot of these companies, they even take half of their business overseas to produce. And then they hire, if you ever looked at the national sales records of these companies, and they'll tell you flat out, we have 100,000 people working overseas, and we have 100,000 working here. And you say, well, that's what they do, because number one, they're trying to market their products overseas as well. Pepsi is really good at that. They got all kind of products, and they got hundreds of thousands of employees overseas. So the thing is that our limit of employment is like the maximum I think that we've ever had was over 160 million people. That's nothing. That's nothing. 160 million people. You got India, you got China, you got the continent of Africa, you got the European people over there. And that's why these companies that want to grow, they look for worldwide employees and put their products there to make more money so that they can, make that money. So I'm saying that, and the reason why I brought this up is because a lot of people try to figure out, say, well, dog, these corporations doing this and they doing that. Well, I'm not knocking them for making more money. I'm not knocking that. But the point is, they use all those taxes and all of those subsidies and tax benefits, and then they don't put it back here in America. That's the problem. They're not investing in America.
Yes, they are, in a way.
Not as much as they should be.
Well, you're always going to have that. Not as much as they should be. Not enough. It's always not enough. You missed out one, military.
Military is not considered as a sector.
It should be. Or maybe you want to stick it into one of those other categories like aerospace. I think it should be, because we spend a hell of a lot of our GDP on military. We spend a lot on the military, and we are dependent upon people joining the military, having jobs and stuff with the military. There are how many veterans and stuff who went all the way through and they get military retirements and stuff. Those guys and stuff, they employ a lot of people. You got the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard. A lot of people.
That's a government entity.
But it's still an employee. They still employ people to do all kinds of stuff.
I'm talking about, see, these companies.
What about the media industry?
Well, the media industry is based on advertising dollars. That's how they get their revenue. Who pays for the advertising dollar?
Well,
the corporations. Other than that, they're not making no money. They wouldn't be on air.
Well, I don't know about that. We have to throw that up there. What about information?
When you say information, what do you mean?
Google. Facebook.
Well, that's technology.
That's technology? You include that in technology?
Okay. That's a sector.
Okay, but that's that. So we can consider that being a subsection of technology.
No, well, you got Microsoft, you got Facebook, you got all of those types of different companies, and they bring a certain amount of revenue into it.
Mhm.
But that could be now, depending on how they list their businesses, it could be listed in the business service apparatus. Now, what you said about state and local government, I told you it was $1.5 trillion.
I still think that we probably need to include military and stuff because we spend a lot of money in there, a lot of people employed there. But that's neither here nor there. You got a big list here already.
But you know, the important thing is that when you're looking to start a business and things that you're interested in, like if you're interested in commercial property and that kind of thing, you know, you have to look at where the money is, where you can make your money, and that's the thing. You know, professional and business services, you know, that's finance, that's accounting, that's all of those types of things, where you're providing a service. You know, you're not really producing anything. What you're doing is you're charging someone for services, which is it's a $2 trillion market.
So what your end point that you're trying to say here is that they are there are employment sectors and stuff that we should maybe be touching upon, or we should let the folks out in the audience and stuff know about.
Well, look at pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
Pharmaceuticals, 1.2 trillion. That's
Okay.
just here in the United States. What about the rest of the world? We're talking trillions of people is taking medications.
Absolutely.
Trillions of dollars are being spent on medication.
Hmm.
Health and medical insurance. They're not providing. They're not producing anything.
Well,
People pay. People paying them for insurance, for health and medical insurance, so that when they get sick, then they negotiate with the hospitals, and we already said what the hospitals are doing, how much revenue they bringing in. So all of it is just touching on everything, touching on, you know, they doing a service, then they doing the service with them, and then that revenue is just flowing. That's what make America great, you know. Yeah, that's what make America great, bro. Because
Yeah, it's
we have.
surprising that you are using a term that one of our candidates and stuff and everything is trying to.
Well, he's saying make America great again.
Uh,
But what I'm saying is that what really makes the differentiation of what America does versus all these other countries, a lot of them are they don't do as far as capitalist society. You know, some of them are more socialists. You know, people get free health care and that kind of thing. Now, if you did free health care, that would knock down a lot of different services and businesses and people, professional people. I mean, you would still have some people that would be working in the system, and I'm sure, but that means that you would have to pay more money out of your paycheck to get free Medicare or free medical. The way the system rolls now is it all interlinks.
I'm letting this sink in, so bear with me. Go ahead.
Well, when you look at banking, now the banking service, I think, is linked with this $2 trillion, you got to realize, man, you know, with a company is, if it's doing a quarter, if it's doing $5 and $10 trillion a quarter, or $5 trillion a quarter, that's doing good, excellent. You know, your revenue after all your expenses and everything, that's excellent. And now every once in a while you'll get a company that would blow up, and they might do 50 billion. That's a lot of money, one company. So all I'm saying is that when you're talking trillions here, we ain't talking about no, you know how many, you know what a trillion is, right?
Mm-hmm.
1,000 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of money. 1,000 billion. That's what a trillion is. And Elon Musk is worth 200 billion.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? I can't. I'm sitting here thinking about these numbers that you
Well,
thrown out there, and how does how do
well,
those
well
numbers how
the
do those
reason why I
numbers
brought it up too
benefit? How
is
do they
that look at
benefit?
it like this. We don't, when you look at it now, you can go down further in different sectors, and there's a lot less money that's being made because we don't produce a lot of goods. Mostly all our goods are being imported. So we don't really produce a lot because we have shipped a lot of our stuff because of cheap labor, you know. So the thing is, our manufacturing has just gone away because you only got what, so many, maybe 3 million. You might have a top 3 million employees that work in manufacturing. I don't know exactly how many it is, but I can almost guarantee you. And let me find out right now. I'll answer that question right now.
I happen to think, Ted, that by us not producing a lot of things here in this country, probably benefits the country in some ways. I think that the days and stuff of us trying to produce everything we need to survive or to exist and everything is over with. We have to depend upon other people, to other countries and stuff, to supply us with the things that we need in our everyday lives. But because we just can't do it, it's almost impossible because of the number of people that we have and other entities and stuff like your real estate. You have to have people and stuff who are going to be dealing in real estate. You got to have your the construction folks and stuff who are doing home building. You got to have carpenters, electricians. You got to have plumbers. You got to have carpet layers or other people that deal with the flooring and stuff and everything. So
It's
there's
almost
plenty,
13 million working in manufacturing.
yeah. Well, there's plenty of work and everything other than manufacturing that we have to have and stuff. So, in my analogy and stuff of what you're saying, I think that not producing everything that we need or whatever and getting it from people from outside the country is a good thing.
Yeah, as long as the countries that we're dealing with and that can provide the services can play fair.
Well,
That's the problem right now.
well, probably. I I worked in the manufacturing arena and stuff before I stopped, and we had problems, and that we just couldn't deal with and everything. We had labor problems. We had uh, safety problems dealing with OSHA. We had all kinds of stuff. We had man, it was just a tremendous headache and stuff to deal with every day, and sometimes we had to have companies and stuff outside of the United States to make some of the products and stuff that we were trying to make because we just couldn't produce the stuff within our manufacturing
Because of
unit
the
here in the
regulations.
United States. Not even because of regulation, but because of the different problems that we were having as far as labor, as far as getting your raw materials and stuff and everything that you needed to produce those particular products and stuff and everything. So it was cheaper for the company to allow some of the companies and stuff out that they own or that was part of the conglomerate to produce outside of the United States and to still produce it in other countries and bring it over here and sell it cheaper than if we had to produce it and stuff in our facility here in the United States.
That's the game, bro.
That's what I'm
That's the
saying.
game.
So a lot of our problems and a lot of our uh, inability and stuff to manufacture and stuff here in this country is because we have internal issues and stuff and everything that creates a problem for us to be able to give our customers and stuff a product that is at a lower price and the quality is good. So I'm saying again that sometimes it's better for even not only the company but for the people and stuff who are the end users and stuff of these products and stuff that sometimes it's better to let someone else do it, bring it into this country and provide it to our customers and stuff cheaper than what we can do here in the United States.
Well, here's my take on it, and I'm probably a little bit off on it, but now I read this article and I see that this AI agrees with me because when I looked it up a few weeks ago, well, months ago, 2.1 million manufacturing jobs are projected to go unfulfilled. 500 manufacturing jobs are currently open, so they can't be filled. But the reason why they're open and can't be fulfilled is because people are not being trained properly in some of these particular jobs. They don't qualify. They don't have the training, and they don't have the technology and all that kind of stuff to do that. And some of these major companies overseas, they have trained their employees just for that job, and they don't bother like United States what we do because the companies are under NASDAQ. A lot of these companies, they have to get profit in order to keep people investing in those companies. And if they're not getting profit, what the CEO going to do? Say, okay, how much did we produce? What's our goods and services? What are we doing? How much money? How many products are we selling? And then they say, well, we didn't meet our goal because we're spending too much and our employment is too high. So what they do, they lay off 500 people in the
Mm-hmm.
company so that
Mm-hmm.
they can have a better profit.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, now you 500 people short,
Mm-hmm.
but you still got to produce the same amount of product or more.
Mm-hmm.
So So you working these other people all kind of hours, but you saving money because you just got away with 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
But now in overseas, these other countries, they don't do that
Mm-hmm.
because they ain't making near as much money over here. What they making over here, and they gotta have those jobs, and they can't go nowhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So they just stay there for 20, 30 years or whatever they do. They
Mm-hmm.
ain't jumping from job to job or manufacturing to manufacturing because they ain't
Mm-hmm.
laying nobody off because you always got a job there to
Mm-hmm.
manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
So the game here is all about profit and loss.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make no profit, some of these employees got to go.
Absolutely.
That's the game.
That's it.
And that's the reason why right now they're 500,000 employees short in the manufacturing over here. Even though there's almost 13 million people working, they're still 500 short. About almost a half a million people short. That means a half a million people who don't have good jobs.
Correct. And there's probably a reason why that 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 employee who walked through that door and hits that clock, because all of them gonna punch a clock, whether they walking through a time check-in machine or they look at you through uh, facial recognition, or you put a finger up on there to say you done came in here, and when you walk out the door, you put your thumbprint up there and everything. They say you're going out. If you are doing that, you have no control over anything that happens to your employment. You're going to have to live with whatever happens. If that CEO on the top up there decides that you have no value, he doesn't care, because just like you just said, the only thing they're dealing with is profit and loss. That's it. If you can't produce a profit, if you can't sit down there and satisfy their shareholders and their stockholders who are sitting over there on Wall Street and everything, they're going to shut you down. You're going to lose your job. Or they're going to say to you, well, because you are not efficient enough and everything, we're going to get rid of you. Or they're going to bring in a robot and they're going to take your job because you are not efficient, more efficient than their robot is. Do they want to spend the money to bring that robot in to do your job, or do they want to say, no, we're not going to even do that? We're going to take those jobs that you had up here in Detroit, and we're going to move those jobs down there below the Mason-Dixon line, where we can hire somebody for half the amount of money that we pay you.
Not even
And
half.
they're going to do a better job
Yeah,
than
not
what
even
you
half.
did. And the benefits are half. They ain't got to pay all them benefits. They ain't got to pay all them high pensions
And no
stuff.
retirement.
And
If you're a full-time employee, they might not even have you as an employee. You might be as a person that's on what they call those little job places that you go on and you work for them for 6 months and boom, you're done with the job.
Hey. or they look within their plant and say, oh, okay, you guys can't we're going to bring in a consultant to do some work within the plant, and the consultants hire their own people at less amount of wages than they have to pay the other unionized person who's sitting there in that plant. He's doing almost the same work that they're doing, but they're being hired and stuff by a consultant, and the company can say, hey, we don't have anything to do with these folks. So, but these people want to work and they want a job, so they're paying them $10 an hour. You making $30 an hour in the same plant, in the same building. Those things happen if you aren't running the place, if you don't
we
own
live in
it.
a capitalist society.
Absolutely. So that's something we have to live with, and we have to realize and stuff as a people and stuff out there that this is what's happening. And complaining about it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, when you say complaints, like the union, I've never been a big union person, but I respect the unions because they have to have fair wages, and what they do is they look at the revenue, profits and loss themselves. And they say, wow, you've been making profits every quarter for the last 3-4 years, and we haven't gotten a raise. I'm still making $50,000 when really I should be making 65. And the cost of living is constantly going up 2-3% every year. So now I've been working for 10 years, I haven't got a raise. You've been making profits for 10 years, but you haven't been paying us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
You're making profits, but yet still, and that's the power of being in a union. You can come together and say that's what Boeing is doing right now.
And Boeing is going to those unions are going to tear that company apart. Because
What was the other company?
I guarantee you, if they force that company to give them what the heck they want, that company, Boeing, is going to go belly up, or something's going to happen with that company, and they're going to turn around and they're going to sell that company to somebody else
Elon Musk.
and said, damn you guys. And then that other company going to come in there and they're going to bust them union folks down. It's a non-union plant.
Well, 50 years ago, unions used to be 30% of the employment force,
Mm-hmm.
the workforce. Now it's less than 10%.
Hey, that's their fault. I'm sitting up there in a plant, a manufacturing plant, and our folks, I'm in management. These folks and stuff that I'm supervising or whatever, they decide that they're not getting what the heck they want. And we're going to go on strike. Bishop, we leaving the plant. We're going to go out on strike. What do you think? I said, I think you're screwing up. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, okay. They went out on strike. Guess what? The company produced more product while these knuckleheads was out there on strike than they did when them boys was in there working. They took their salaried employees and ran that whole plant. And when they found that out, they had to come back in there, and they didn't get half of what they wanted. And when they came back in, their union folks said, well, we're going to do a slowdown and we ain't going to work because you guys screwed us around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh,
that's what they do, bro.
That's what they do. That's what they do.
And it's the same thing.
And they cut their own throat. Today, right now, you go to that plant. When I was there, they had 350 wage employees. They have 125. They lost over 225 jobs.
Well, it says annual manufacturing GDP loss is $459 billion, almost $500 billion. $500 billion.
We have to learn how to change, Ted. If you can't keep up.
What is the change?
We have to learn how to change. You have to learn how to change. Things don't stay the same.
Well, here's the thing, Ed. Here's the thing, what I think.
Go ahead.
Okay, after 3 years, if you work the same job for 3 years, and it should be according to inflation. If inflation for 3 years was 6% total, you should get a 6% raise. Then that would bring you up to your salary. So you're keeping up with inflation. Because inflation eats up your dollar, your buying power. Because what do they do every year pretty much all over the country? Every year your insurance goes up.
What about if I'm the president of a union and I'm sitting up there in my plant and I got 300 employees who are up under me and they're making a decent wage, and you're saying to me that we want to keep up with inflation. We want to keep up and make, if inflation is 6%, that's what we want. We want 6% inflation. And that's what we're going to shoot for, 6% inflation. I'm going to tell them, well, we're going to gamble on ourselves. Your plant manager every year gets a performance raise. Why not give my unionized employees a performance-based raise also? So I can determine if I'm going to make 3% or if I'm going to get 20%. What would you take?
Well, let's put it like this. You know how business works? You know how business works. Business work is based on sales and supply and demand.
That's fine.
Okay, listen to what I'm saying now. Sales and supply and demand.
That's fine.
It's a thing called this. This is what we call it. Up and down, up and down, up and down.
That's fine.
Years, no, it's not fine, because
yes,
see,
it is.
If you do performance, then that means, okay, now you're talking performance, and you say, okay, now you get a 20% raise instead of a 6% raise. But the next year, all of a sudden,
so what?
Sales ain't so good. Sales ain't so good. So now what should I do? I get a decrease in my salary?
So what? No, you don't have to get a decrease. Your salary is based on the performance of what's going on there in that place, just like the CEO's salary is based on performance
I don't think you heard what I said.
I heard what you said.
What did I
say? And there are going to be years and stuff there where you might not even get a raise at all. There might be years you might not get a raise at all. But I'm basing my thing on performance. On my performance is how I'm going to get it. So if we don't reach those goals or performance goals, then I don't make it. And it is, like you said, dependent upon your profit and your losses and what goes on with sales or whatever. It goes.
All, wait a minute. The thing is really all predicated on how much product is going out the door.
Correct.
You can be an excellent producer, and you can drum that stuff out all day. But if they're just sitting up on the shelf and you can't sell them,
then that's fine. We're okay with that.
How are you going to be okay with that when you ain't bringing no money?
Because this is the place where I work at. This is the place that puts a roof over my children's head. This is the place that I have invested in. If you are invested in something and everything, then you are going to make sure that place does it. So you're going to rise and fall on whatever's going on there in that plant. Okay? It's going to rise and fall on that. I'm fine with that, because your salespeople out there, They're going to try to sell as much product as they can. The company going to try to make as much profit as they can. So we all in this thing together. We're gambling together. And if we make 20% one year and zero the next, if you add the stuff out, I'd have made 10%.
Okay, so all right, scenario. Last year we made 100. I'm gonna just throw out a number. Let's say we made $100 billion last year.
Mm-hmm.
This year we lost 100 billion.
Okay.
But because we made 100 billion revenue, and you lost the next year 100 billion,
right?
And they gave you a 20% raise.
No, they didn't give us 20%. They didn't give us a 20% raise. That's performance based, Ted. It's not a raise, 20% raise. Your mind.
So what are you saying?
Your mind is based on your salary. Your mind is based on your wages.
Are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you saying that every year should be based on performance and not salary?
They don't have to work. Their salary is the same thing all the time. What they make their salary. Any increase. If we start out and they're making $15 an hour, okay, that's your base. Anybody gonna make a base. Your CEO gonna have a base salary, but if his performance is damn good, then he's gonna make that on top of that salary. So that's increasing his wages. So if he's getting a 20% bonus and stuff at the end of the year, I'm happy with that. Because I can take my 20% bonus and I can do what the heck I want to do with it. Man, Christmas comes around here, I can buy my kids Christmas gift. I can go out there and maybe put a down payment on a car. Plus, I'm going to get my income tax check coming in here and everything. Man, I'm going to be nigger rich. That's what I'm based on. But if they're losing and stuff, I'm still being paid my $15 an hour.
I understand all of that, but what I'm trying to tell you is that unions don't work like that.
Why not?
I don't know
why
I'm
not?
not in the union. But what I'm trying to tell you, they base their thing on increase in salary.
Why not base it on that? Why not? I don't understand why not.
It's just not just salary. It's about getting better health care. It's about a better retirement.
All that's in there. But the only thing they're negotiating this stuff is the wages and stuff. Yes, we're going to get benefits like everybody else. Well, whatever my supervisor gets, that's what I get.
Retirement is based on your salary. If you're making $25,000 a year based on your regular salary, and then you living off of your performance, your retirement is going to be based on your $25,000, which ain't going to be much. But if you're making $50,000, your retirement is going to be based on $50,000.
It's not. It can't be. It all depends on how you sit down there and how you negotiate it. It's all dependent upon how you negotiate how it's being paid. Because when they come out with that daggone bonus and stuff, most of them going to take a tax out of that daggone bonus that they're getting. They're going to tax it, okay? So it's the same thing. If it's just being taxed and stuff, it's the same thing as a wage. It's being taxed. They're going to consider it the same thing. And that's what you can do. That's the negotiating part, Ted. You can sit down there and negotiate whatever you want.
So you're saying that they can still have the union?
I'm saying that what they did 50 years ago may not apply this year. They need to change. The times have changed. Companies have changed. Profits and stuff have changed. Why not a union?
That's why you got 10% right now, less than 10% that's in unions.
You have to change how you think. You have to change how you make money if you want to survive out there. Because what was going on And you just said it. They done lost how many good paying union jobs? You already said it. They done lost them. They ain't coming back. So why continue to lose more?
Right now in this country, they are short 500,000 jobs. They need workers.
That's because those union workers out there don't want to retrain themselves when they lost those other jobs. They don't want to be retrained, go back to school, get some paperwork and everything, and train yourself and everything for those jobs that are open. Just like you sat there and you gave me all those industry jobs and stuff, those SIC jobs that are out there. Then you need to train yourself, huh?
What's SIC?
That's the code that they use for these particular jobs you got there that you just told me about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have
what
a
code.
Stand for? The government has a code for that.
What does it stand for?
Huh?
What does it stand for?
It stands for, I think it's strategic industrial coding or something like that. But it tells them what specific area that those jobs are in. That's when I said to you, when you talk about aerospace and stuff, maybe that might be a subsection and stuff and everything to the other. And the SIC code has a subsection for the other jobs is on there. It's just like personal care stuff and everything or whatever you go on in the personal care coding and stuff and everything has a subcode and everything to it that deals with people who do fingernails or who do fashions and stuff, who make clothes and stuff and everything, or who getting into consulting work, fashion consulting work, all that. It's got all of them got codes and everything to it. So the industry and stuff knows what you're doing and where you at. They can automatically look at your coding and see what's going on, what you actually doing, and you have the opportunity to code yourself if you're creating your own business. Oh, what's your ending story?
You want to switch gears?
We at the end, man. We at the end, man. I'm looking at the clock. I'm sitting at the clock, man. We at the end here. You got to come up with your final word here, because we about ready to overshoot our hour.
Well, here's the thing with because I'm looking at the union and I'm looking at these different jobs and sectors, and a lot of it's dealing with manufacturing. And we do some manufacturing, obviously 13 million, but not near as many manufacturing jobs that we used to, as far as making goods. However, the union in a lot of ways have done some good, but it's also done some bad. So now my whole life was always based on salary and commission, which is the same thing as what do you call it? What do you call it? You call it something else, but see, what I worked on is commission. So if my salary was, let's say, 45,000, 50,000, and my goal was to make a certain amount of sales or get a certain amount of customers, I reach my goal. But if I go over my goal a certain percentage, 10%, 20%, I get a better commission. That's what salespeople do. They do it in bank. Well, I don't know so much now, but when I was in banking, they did commission as well. When I was in advertising, they did it as well, salary and commission. When I was in mortgages, salary and commission. So when I was in insurance, salary and commission. And none of those jobs were union jobs. So if I wanted to make more money, I made more sales. I got more customers. But now you brought up the idea of manufacturing. And the thing is, and I'm going to throw this at you, every job in manufacturing ain't the same. So you got some people might be making 15, some be making 25, some be gonna making $50 an hour because of their skill level and how important their skill level is. That's the difference. So take it for what it's worth. So I think it's a good idea what you suggested. As far as these union people, they should be based on um, what kind of profit that they make. So I don't think that's a bad idea if the unions did that. But you got people, don't nobody want to work for no $15 an hour, and then they turn around they don't get no bonus.
That's the chance you take out there in that world. And my thing is that if you're sitting there and your membership is steady going down, it's not going up, it's going down because these companies and stuff are saying to those folks and everything that we're going to find another way to outdo you. And you're not going to beat them because you don't own that company. Now, I can look at each and every one of the unions out there. We see Boeing and stuff out there on strike. You see the longshoremen, they went out on strike. They went out for a little bit, but they came back because they realized that they were going to tear this country apart and that they couldn't do it because the president had the power to force them back to work. So they had to come back, and the company and stuff did give them exactly what the heck they wanted and stuff as far as wages. They did not give them what they wanted and stuff as far as them trying to stop them from using AI. That the company and stuff kept that in abeyance. And we're not even talk about that. We after they said they're gonna come back and say, okay, we give you what you asked for, but don't we ain't gonna discuss AI and how we're gonna use it and everything to uh, bring goods and stuff into these ports and stuff, and you guys unload these ships. We're not going to talk about that. Well, if you don't own the company, you don't have a whole lot to say. But if you change the way you were doing something and everything, and you become a partner in that company, I think you're going to come out on the top better than you would be if you were out there talking about, well, I got to make a certain amount of money and that's it. That's the only thing I'm going to make. You don't have, you was doing the same thing that your father was doing and your grandfather was doing and everything. But the world has changed and we have to realize that. And if we don't realize that, you're going to die. All of your people are going to be gone. They're going to find some other kind of way to get around you, and you are not going to be able to stop them because you do not own that company as far as manufacturing. That's my point. Think outside the box, and you're going to make a heck of a lot more money.
Okay.
You have the potential to make a lot more money. And yes, you are the wage employee. Yes, you are the bag man. Yes, you are the operator. Yes, you are the senior operator. Yes, you are the team leader and all that. All of you guys are in that boat rocking together. Each one of them has their own pay scale. Correct. They have a base pay level that they're going to be paid no matter what. They got a base level. They had to go broke or what they go up above that. All I'm saying is that at the end of the year and stuff and everything, or on a quarterly basis, you or however that company and stuff deals with their profits and stuff and everything, they have the opportunity and stuff to increase their salary by a performance. And you sitting there and everything, I'm going to work a hell of a lot harder knowing that I'm going to get more money if I can produce more product out that daggone door than I will be if I don't give a damn what goes out that door. I'm going to still make the same amount of money. And that idea and that principle that have been going inside these union people's heads and stuff for all these many years and everything has rotten. That's the best
Gotcha.
word. That's the best word I can say. It's rotten, and you got to change. You want. I want to bring some new ideas into what I'm doing because I'm going to do it as management staff. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring in some new ideas. And hey, man, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I don't need you no more. I don't need to hire somebody. Retire. I'm not going to hire anybody else. I don't need him. I can still produce the same amount of product because I don't need him. He out the door. I'm fine. You done lost another union member. But most of them, they don't care anyway. I've worked in an environment where there were unions and stuff. They don't care. I don't care. I don't make same amount of money. I don't care. When they shut the place down, think you're gonna still care? Your children are not gonna eat.
Well, that's why a lot of these companies, what you just said, you said earlier, before we close out, you said earlier when we began, they go from Midwest to the South to get cheaper labor, from the South to overseas.
To overseas. You can't do it in the South and send it overseas. Let somebody else do it. And that's where it is. That's our loss in manufacturing. And we have to realize that you were a part of the problem. And instead of saying, well, I didn't do that, they did it. Don't blame them, because sometimes you got to look inward, look in the mirror, and see what your party is in this whole mess.
And you got the books right in front of you. You know what they're making and how much goods and services are being sold.
Absolutely.
So therefore, you deal with it accordingly.
Absolutely. And you were sitting at the boardroom table. One of your people sitting at that boardroom table. They know what they're going on. You can demand, say, I want somebody on the board. Put them at the table. So I know what they're going on.
I've only been a member of 2 unions, and that's when I was a teenager. So after that, I said no more, because both companies went on strike.
Mm-hmm.
and when you go on strike, you ain't making no money.
You ain't making no money. And most of the time, you don't recoup those lost wages anyway.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you don't recoup them. They're gone. There's no way you're gonna get it. So anyway, people, Mr. Hobby got to go. He got a birthday party to go to. Somebody got a birthday.
All right, bro.
Anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow.